Hello and welcome to the Neurospicy Travel Podcast. Join me on my adventures abroad where I embrace solo travel head-on. As a person with autism, I'd love to share my personal stories, insights and practical tips for other fellow travellers on the spectrum. In this episode, I'll talk about my solo trip on a national holidays mystery weekend in the UK. It's a coach-based trip where you get collected early in the morning and you're taken to 2 mystery locations with travel, food and hotels included in the price. I couldn't resist the mystery and signed up to the last trip of the winter season. I wrote a diary entry for this entire trip and thought reading through it would probably be better to understand how I felt at the time too. So here goes my short journey to who knows where. The 24th of February 2024. After a very chilly start, I was guided around Bradford Centre to find the temporary coach stops where I met an older lady and her daughter, both very friendly. It was comforting to know that I was in the right place. The coach arrived 5 minutes earlier than planned with a cheerful driver, Kada, and heating on full, just what I needed. Passing through Halifax, Huddersfield, Dewsbury, Wakefield, the coach became packed and it was still pretty pleasant a few hours. A mix of ages, from early 20s to 80s, it was like a hotspot for ladies' weekends and couples' holidays. I did stand out a little as a solo traveller, but felt surrounded by nice people, so not so lonely. At the Woolly Edge service station, after grabbing a takeaway Costa to be back on board at 9:45 a.m. Barnsley and Sheffield were the final pickups. I eagerly waited my destination. What a strange feeling going all that way with no itinerary. 10:50 finally came, and the suspense was killing us. The driver made us guess and wound up with some better places in the end. I was going to Stratford-upon-Avon. After a quick Google search, I was grateful for the choice. It looked beautiful. Birthplace of Shakespeare. It had old town buildings and market square, the perfect spot for a cream tea. 2 hours more to go from that point, and another 15-minute service stop at Leicester. We'd been given a guide on how long we could take walking around before we were taken back to the Britannia Hotel. It was about 4 hours, which wasn't bad at all. Day 2's trip remained a mystery. Stratford-upon-Avon. Well, there I was, the birthplace of one of the greatest writers and actors in the world, where people would rather take pictures of a man with a boombox and his face painted gold than Shakespeare's memorial. I felt exhausted after the 7-hour coach ride with traffic and people talking about beef joints and Peter Kay behind me. I turned up starving and tired, not a good mix. I spent some time looking for food. It was absolutely packed out, so I decided to have my emergency tuna sandwich on a bench while kids screamed beside me. I found Shakespeare's house and his school and took a photo in front of them amongst hundreds of people. Pretty cool. The amount of noise and people really got to me. Southern accents and people knocked me out of the way. I headed to check out the Stratford Canal to rest, but I was instantly greeted by floods and kids screaming at swans struggling to swim away in the thick brown tides. Don't get me wrong, it is beautiful and well kept. It's just a shame everyone else thought that too. I composed myself in the McDonald's toilets and found myself a cream tea at Hufkin's Tea Rooms. The best part of the trip to that point, they were warm and fancy. Thankfully, no one pointed out that I was eating it the wrong way by putting the jam on first. Bromsgrove Hotel and Spa. 45 minutes to the hotel, I was grateful to be heading to a quiet room on my own. I walked into a luxurious-looking place full of plants and chandeliers. They'd given me a family room with a beautiful furniture and garden view. We were told dinner was at 7 p.m. and to expect delays as there were 3 other coaches dropping off people. I watched rubbish on TV until it was time and found some people I recognised from the coach in the queue to the restaurant. I was given a scowl from the staff telling me to go away and come back in half an hour, which was pretty poor. It turned out to be worth the wait in the end. The food was stunning. I had a starter, 2 mains and a dessert, with extra salad and veg. I was invited to eat with the 2 ladies I'd met in Bradford, and we'd had a great laugh about their adventures in Benidorm and other trips. I ended my night with a glass of Merlot. Perfect. 8 a.m. for breakfast, and it was meat fest at the buffet. I ended up with scrambled egg, hash browns and beans. I loaded up with cereal and cheese strings too, just in case. I finished a little early, so I sat in the lobby watching TV with my bag. Birmingham. What a shame they couldn't take us somewhere new and interesting. I shuddered looking back when I used to work there. I tried to plan something that would pull me away from just shopping and walking endlessly, so I opted for sea life. Their booking system failed as I got to the door with a sigh of relief. I walked off from the heaving building packed full of families. Instead of the £30 school trip to the aquarium, I opted for my safe place, Wetherspoons, for a decaf coffee and a corn sausage sandwich to make up for the hole that my first breakfast left. It was beautiful and sunny outside, despite it being freezing. I headed for a few shops and spent money on things I didn't need and completely tired myself out. One last pint at Wetherspoons to let me drop my bag off for a few minutes before heading back for the coach. The coach turned up perfectly on time. I was grateful to be back on the road home. I hopped from Sheffield and I found I could take 3 hours off by getting the train, so off I went. It was lovely how everyone made a fuss and said goodbye when I left. I worked out the price difference if I book it myself or if I went through the package holidays. If I booked by myself, it would have been £112.60. The hotel with food, £71.90. The coach, £35.70. And Birmingham to Stratford coach would have been £5. I paid £114, which included the £5 discount and the additional £30 solo travelling fee. Overall, I think having somebody else book this as part of an experience was probably the best idea. Value for money, I'd say it was a 10 out of 10. And my overall experience, 7 out of 10, just because of the poor second location. This trip, I believe, wasn't autism friendly if you are on your own. I feel like if they were to update you a little bit more, I think it would have been much easier. However, when things started to go wrong, it was really up to me to try and ask other people what was happening. It was quite, I think during the time that I went, it was quite busy. It was quite stressful. I did hope to just have sort of a nice walk around and things like that. But everything was quite busy, and obviously ended the second day in quite a busy city as well. Overall, I think the people on the coach made the journey more special, so I definitely would recommend. If I was to do it again, I would probably go with somebody else as well, just to minimise that risk of getting stressed and sort of taking the fun out of the trip too. A quick disclaimer with ASD is how I feel and what I see. I have no facts, no wish to teach. I want to share confidence to head for the beach. Ask your questions and give advice. Write your comments, but keep it nice. Another tale of travel at sea. In 1 month's time, who knows where I'll be. A quiet space, sun, a sea that's glistening. Thanks for finding me, and thanks for listening.